All right, we should now be recording. All right. So, anyways, last week here we were just showing on Facebook, and we talked about specifically engaging and connecting rather than consuming, right? So you're not on Facebook to consume, you're on here to connect and engage. And one of the ways to do that is to just share all the amazing events that we've got going on. And so I asked some of you guys to go ahead and help me with some reviews, if and I wanted these to be honest and real. And there were 3 on the 20th. And Sandra actually is the one who is getting a book. So Sandra, I am going to be reaching out to you personally to get your. Well, actually, Sandra, I can just bring it on Thursday because you're here in the Utah marketplace, and then on the 22nd. Keely came in and did one of these reviews as well. So thank you to everybody, by the way, who shared a review. And I basically said that there was 4 possible days to do it, and I will draw a name out of the hat for each day. And so we had 3 on the 20th, and we had another one on the 22nd, and that was Keely. So Keely, I'll reach out to you personally as well and just get an address to ship it off to. And I'll be mailing you off a book. So I'm going to give you a choice between the 2, and we talked about those books last week. So there's one book by Jim Rohn, and there's another book by Eric Bailey. And I'm going to give you guys the opportunity again on today to possibly get a book sent out to you directly from me with a little personalized note. And if you guys want that opportunity, just pay attention. Anyways, I thought this was kind of cool, and I won't talk more about Facebook today because that's what we covered last week, was building out this page, and I showed you guys how to go get a quick logo made and dress it up, make it a little bit more professional. And so what I did think was kind of cool though was, while I was out of town for my birthday and took some time to just be away from cell phone or internet service. I mean, I basically just got back last night, so I definitely have not caught up from that experience. But I had a gentleman that's part of my warm market, because one of the things that I did, if you guys remember, is I went through and I just I showed you guys how to go to this page, to your page, right? So we'll go here. I'll remind you real quick. And I actually have been inviting my friends, my warm market, to here as well. So I'm trying to get it to go to the home here, because I'm still stuck on these reviews. Hold on a second. All right, doesn't seem to be going anywhere. Let's see. I'll pull it up here. All right, it's just taking a little time. Anyways, so I was adding all my warm market, and I happen to have somebody, and this is where it is you can click on right here, see all friends, and then when you get to see all friends, then you just start adding, clicking the invite button, okay? And I had a gentleman that saw the Ogden event, and he showed up. In fact, he sent a message, and because I was already out of town, I was not able to answer that message. However, he was able to reach out to Stephanie Davis, who hosts that event. So Dustin right here. Can you get me more info on how to attend the meeting tonight in Ogden? So he sent the message. He ended up reaching out to Stephanie. He went and attended the event, and it was all done while I was out of town. So it's kind of nice to have that and to have support. And this is one of the reasons that I do suggest, building for events where you're connected to the event host and that you've reached out to them personally. Before I started sharing the Ogden presentations, I actually called Stephanie and I asked her a little bit about what's going on, what her goals were, how many she has in attendance, so that I could best prepare for how to build for those Tuesday events. And then, of course, I asked her permission to be able to build for it. Now, can I send somebody to any event, anytime, anywhere? Pretty much, yeah, I can. And, there may be different fees depending on where that is. But I really like to, build a cooperative relationship with the host of any events that I'm building for. All right. So that was Facebook. We're going to jump over to Meetup. And somebody has shared their video. Let me go ahead and stop that. All right. So we're going to go right here to Meetup. And now Meetup is a different animal, okay, as far as social media is concerned. So Meetup is specifically designed for people to meet up live, for people to get together in person. And so, and I'll actually go directly to Meetup first here, rather than, my Meetup. All right, so basically you can come in here, and when you add yourself to Meetup, you can go find all kinds of different meetups. And so these are some of the events that I have going on near me. So I'm part of a lot of different types of meetups. So the Outdoor Adventure Group, the Adventure SLC, Outdoor Adventures, free events, and more. Salt Lake Beer Drinkers. I don't know why I'm connected to that one. I don't really drink beer. Board Game Meetup, Utah Outdoors, the Freemasonry Meetup, the Hiking in Utah, Reiki and Holistic Healing. Basically anything that I have put on as a potential interest, that these groups have similar interests, they share what we have going on this week that I can go to. So if I decided I wanted to go to a meditation Reiki circle, I can go to that tonight at 7 o'clock, right? And on Friday, if I decided that, I wanted to go, I wanted to go to the museum, right? I could go, and I would be going with other people. So it's specifically connecting with people that have similar interests than you. And this is the great part about it, is especially if you were listening to Rob Sperry, where he was talking about in the way that he does his social media, and he talks about, don't just go hit the the real estate groups where it's probably spam. Instead, go find the events that make sense to you. So if you're into tennis, then go ahead and join the tennis group. If you're into volleyball, go ahead and join the volleyball group. If you're into fantasy football, go ahead and join those as well, right? And one of the things that I did was I wanted to build a group, and I wanted it to be a really awesome group. And when I first built this group, I was making it more general entrepreneurial based. And so the first thing that I did is I went and attended all the different meetups that I could find. So, I was literally going to probably 3 to 5 events a week outside of our regular Renatus events. These are other people's meetups, because I wanted to see who was sharing what and how they were hosting their events, and how they were making the connections possible, and what type of activities that they were doing, and all those things. And it helped me a ton. And so that's one thing that I would suggest from you guys. And the great part about it is, too, you're going to build a ton of relationships. It's going to get you out there connecting with people that have similar interests, or that are in similar, industry as your focus. So that is something that I would suggest for you. Now, after that, I went and started my own group, and we're going to click on, well, this is actually, I went to the event. So let me just go directly to the group first. Salt Lake Investor Club. Now this group actually used to be entrepreneur exclusive, and I used to partner with some other people on many different types of events, and it was more for general entrepreneurs. But what I found was, especially as I came on over the last year and I started hosting a lot of the Renatus events, I got to the point where I really didn't have the extra capacity for me to host events that were not Renatus events, that were not real estate based. And so what I found was, because of the description of the group And the fact that most of the events that we're hosting are real estate based, I didn't feel in alignment with sharing a lot of the, events on there. I didn't want it to be called a general entrepreneur group and the only thing that we're sharing is real estate events. And so I decided to go through a rebrand, and that was part of the rebrand that I talked to you guys about last week. So I already had over 2,000 members inside my meetup. And what I did was I sent a message out to all of those that said, hey, we're rebranding, and because of most of the events that I focus on are real estate based events, we're going to rebrand as the Salt Lake Investor Club. And then that's what I did. I went ahead and rebranded, and I went ahead and started sharing different events. And so that was a nice little boost. You guys may or may not have that opportunity. If you don't have a group already, that's no big deal. One little trick is if you join some of the other groups that are out there and the host decides to step down as an event host, if you kind of wait for that opportunity, it gives the members of that group the opportunity to step in and take on hosting that that group. So you may be able to, kind of step into the role and take over a group that already has members. But here's the thing. When I first started my group years ago, I didn't have any members on there. I didn't have anybody that I didn't take over any group back then. And so what I did was I created my group, and then I just went and started connecting with people. So I would go to other groups that were similar, right? Other entrepreneurial groups, and I would share with the members. And I would basically send out messages that said, hey, I'm just starting a new meetup, thought that it might be something that you'd be interested in. And we got some, I was able to build up my base that way. And then, of course, by being consistent with hosting events, those events continued to pop up in people's feed. And as they popped up in people's feed, then those people started, becoming a member of the group. And then by becoming a member of the group, they were able to start attending more and more events. Okay. So I switched my description of my event, and this is the description. Salt Lake Investor Clubs helps to host real estate investing and financial literacy events across Utah, with the bulk of those events being held in Salt Lake Valley. We average over 300 attendees on a weekly basis, making us one of, if not the largest in-person real estate investing group in Utah. Meetup is just one of the many ways we promote these events, so don't be fooled if you see a low RSVP number here. When possible, we will try to give an expectation on how many people will actually be in attendance. We collaborate with other local and national groups to host a majority of our events, and sometimes this means additional registration is required. To make this process simple, we recommend filling out the profile questions so that we can easily transfer your information from Meetup to another platform without too much extra work. And so when somebody comes in and joins, then there's actually a set of questions that they're going to answer. And as they answer those questions, those are going to be things. And let me see if I can find one here that just helps you guys see this. Adams group. If I look at his profile, no, he doesn't have. He hasn't answered them yet. But right here, it's just simply email, phone number. What are the what? Oh, I should I changed that question, and I should change the grammar on it. What is the number one reason you're joining this group? And then an introduction. So they have the opportunity to fill that out. And of course, with the email and phone number, and I've got their name, that gives me the ability to transfer their information. Now, if they don't, what I do is when I build out the event, we're going to go back here, then I actually have another question that is asked of them as well. And so let me switch over here, and we will actually go to an upcoming event, and we'll go to this one right here, Victorian Restoration Reveal and Flip Tour. And so we're going to be doing that this Saturday. This is a big project, and we're unveiling it. We're doing a house tour there. So I just did some basic details about the event, right? and then people are starting to RSVP, I noticed, because we have a couple of attendees. Well, we just have me and another attendee. So if I go to manage attendees right here, then you've got the RSVP question. Oh no. It was a different event that I saw attendees for. So let me go back. I think it was actually Salt Lake Investor Club gathering. So this is our Thursday night. And because our Thursday night, most people don't really understand what's happening there, right? And we don't just have one room. So as I showed you guys last week, I built it out to where I talked about all the different rooms that are going on. Now, Regina has said that she's going to attend. Now, I come over here and I see that she didn't answer the question. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check on Regina's profile, okay? And if I go to her profile, I'm going to see if she answered the questions. She doesn't have these questions either. So what I do is I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to go back here and I'm going to send her a message. So we're just going to come in. I'm going to say, hey, Regina, I noticed you RSVP'd for tonight's event. I'll need a good phone number and email for further registration. Can you please provide those? Question mark. All right. And there you go. I'm just going to send that off. And as you can see, I've sent some of these people messages, and some of them I already had their information, and some of them I didn't have their information. So for like Derek, for example, I went and clicked on Derek and I said, Derek, looks like you're coming out to the event tomorrow. Can I get a good phone number for you for further registration? Because he actually did provide his email, but he didn't provide his phone number. So it's just, those steps that you've got to go through to make sure that you get these people registered. Now, one of the things that I do want to show you, actually, let me come here, is the one thing I don't do is I don't share the address here in Meetup. Instead, I have them send me their information, or if they already have their information, then I send them that information. So if we click on one of these events, we'll go to the Victorian. As you can see here, the address is just Salt Lake City, right? And so if you go to the other event that we had here, the gathering, right? All that one says is Sandy, Utah. Here. Right, so it says Sandy, Utah. So, and then it says, how do you find us? Exact location will be given after registration. So I also put it in the description down here at the bottom. We're expecting over 300 attendees at this event, and do not use Meetup for check-in. So additional registration is required. Please fill out your member profile here or answer the automatic question when registering. If you prefer your contact information goes only to the host. Exact location will be given after registration. So I just keep saying that over and over and reminding them that the exact location they're going to get after registration. So that's some of what I've done to be able to build out this Meetup. And then I've just started filling it with events. And what I'm noticing, because mine's a little bit different, what you're going to find is if you start a brand new group, then you're going to have people joining your Meetup. And actually, Meetup does a lot of the promotion for you, which is kind of cool. They'll actually do that promotion because they want to get people out there connecting on their platform. And so you're going to find people are just naturally joining, and your members will go up and up. What I'm finding is, because I've switched the branding of my group, I actually have people joining my group almost every single day. And a couple of times a week, I have people that are opting out of my group. And I get so stoked about that, guys. Like, this is the one thing that I had as like a realization is for a long time I had this group, and because of the way that I first created it, again, it didn't feel congruent because I wasn't doing general entrepreneur events. I was doing mostly focused on real estate events. And so I was trying to, help manage that expectation and not have it as like a bait and switch. And so I wasn't sharing nearly as much events as I wanted to be sharing. And I realized that I don't want everybody in my meetup. I don't want a whole bunch of members. I want engaged people. I want people that are going to engage in the events, that are going to connect to what we're doing, and that are our ideal potential client. So that's kind of what I've done. And if you guys go to this event, if you go to the meetup, you can actually join my group. And if you guys are willing to go in here and share a review or, a comment here, I'm going to be giving away the books that I didn't give away last week. So I'm giving away 2 from last week for those of you who did do reviews on my Facebook group. If you guys are willing to do that in my meetup group, I'm giving away 2 additional books, which, by the way, if you already won a book last week, you can win the other book this week. So there's The 12 Pillars by Jim Rohn, which is a really awesome book. I'll send you a little personalized note with it. And then there is also Being Boring Sucks, So Stop It, which is a book that's all about improving your public speaking. And so I'm giving those books away. And you guys have the opportunity to get one again if you'll just do me this little favor. Now, don't do it just for the books, right? I'm incentivizing you guys because I want you to, to engage in it. But if you don't feel like Renatus has really impacted your life and, and whatnot, then don't do it. However, if you've had a good experience, and especially if you have had a good experience specifically with me, go ahead and go give a review and, talk about, what that looks like. So I'll switch back over here actually to the Facebook and show you guys the reviews just to kind of give you an idea of what you could do on Meetup. And again, this will be going through Monday. So anybody who shares a review from now through Monday will have the opportunity to get a book. And basically, I'll just take all those names and I will put a name in a hat and draw out and choose the person who is going to be receiving that book. And I will mail it to you, or if you're local, I will hand it to you in person. But I'll reach out to you guys directly to do it. So reviews, I wanted to show you guys right here. Now, Nathan is actually not part of Renatus. He's just somebody that I've connected with. He's actually going to be joining Renatus. And when he saw me do this, he had been to a few events and he went and shared a review on his own. I didn't ask him to, and that was kind of cool. And so Sandra shared her review, positive and inspiring. Salt Lake Investor Club would guide and reach your potential in a safe environment, help me be more confident and move forward to my next step in my investor career. Keeley said, an amazing ecosystem of real estate investors and entrepreneurs to support you as you are learning about investing in real estate as well as business ownership. If you are already investing in real estate, this group will take your business to the next level. John said, amazing group of positive and rich-minded individuals willing to go out of their way to help teach people. And Joanne said, years ago, I had huge real estate investment loss. It was 100% my fault. I didn't know what I was doing and I lost everything. I found Christion Sadler on YouTube, liked what I was learning. This group is upfront, transparent, willing to share information. I've made plans to attend and meet Christion and others in Salt Lake City. So I appreciate all those reviews. You guys are welcome to go to my Facebook page and review there. And this week, we're specifically focused on Meetup. So if you guys are willing to go to Salt Lake Investor Club and just give a nice review there, then I will be giving away some books. So I wanted to leave some time open. We've got about 10 minutes here for questions. So let me jump over to the chat and see what we've got going on. Okay, Bill. When you were introducing yourself in those events, were you doing it as a real estate investor, or would you would say whatever job you did? Bill, primarily I was talking about real estate. I wasn't talking about being a steel worker at all. That's for sure. And so yeah, when I was going to events, and I think that's when you asked this question, was earlier when I was talking about when I was going to all these events, I would introduce myself as a real estate investor. And so, and if you're not a real estate investor yet, if you don't feel, that you can confidently say I'm a real estate investor, you can say I'm venturing into real estate investing and have been learning some really cool strategies. In fact, and you can share more than that. In fact, I just learned how you can pay off a 30-year mortgage in a fraction of the time without changing your income or lifestyle. Great question, Bill. All right. Does anybody else have any questions? Fritz, yes, it is possible to get access to the previous morning calls, and those are hosted on the Renatus Team Elevate YouTube. So if you just go on and search Renatus Elevate YouTube, find the actual YouTube channel, and that's where they get shared. Any other questions? And it doesn't have to be specifically about Meetup or even Facebook. It can be anything that you guys want some guidance on. But I did want to leave some time here if you guys have any questions about building out these events or doing any of that specifically. Go ahead and ask away. While you're doing that, I want to show you guys again. You want to make these for the general public. Some people talk in how do I say it? You guys talk in slang, meaning you already know what Renatus is. You already understand what the events are. And so you're talking as if these new people understand that too. They don't, right? They don't have a clue about what the events are. So you want to kind of talk about it from the standpoint of somebody has never heard about real estate, has never heard about anything. And so be kind of general with your explanation so that it talks about it as the event itself, and try not to use too much jargon, like real estate jargon. Raphael, question about the meetup. Do you pay anything monthly? Yes. So in order to go to events, in order to be on Meetup, there's no charge for that, Raphael. So you can be a part of Meetup and you can go to as many meetups as you want. There is no charge for that. Now, if you want to host a meetup group, which is what I was talking about here, when you get to that point, when you're ready to start being the one that's actually hosting these events, then there is a charge. And I can't even remember what that charge is, but if you go to their plans, you can find that out for yourself. And one thing that I forgot to put in here as a suggestion, one thing that I'm going to do with my meetup that I believe will help is, on top of hosting a lot of the events that that we're doing as a group with Renatus, which again, don't share the address in those events. Make sure that you have a personal connection with somebody, because if they just show up, then they're going to go to the host, right? And then what I'm going to do in addition to this is I will be hosting some general networking type events for people that can come and just connect and kind of share, this is who I am, this is the resources that I have, and this is what I'm looking for to advance myself in real estate right now. All right, and then it looks like Jeremy said, if we're looking to create our own events in a different region, now that you've done this, what are the first steps you would take to get a new event or group going? So is that specifically you're starting a new Renatus meeting, like you're starting to open up a new territory, or are you just saying that you want to use Meetup to promote in different events, or I mean in different areas? I think that's Jeremy that asked that. expanding Renatus in an existing territory. Okay. Is this a territory that you live in, or is this a territory that is somewhere else from you? I live in, and we are expanding to a different area. Oh, okay, I got it. So basically, let's say you're in Denver and you're going to Colorado Springs, and you're saying, what are some of those steps? New side of the city. Perfect. Yeah. So what I would do is the first thing I would do is I would focus, realize that Meetup is not going to fill your room for you. You've got to be doing all the different ways of filling those events. The other thing that you want to do is you want to commit to building out that event, meaning you're not just going to go there for a while, right? If you're going to start a new territory, if you're going to start, building on a new side of the city, you got to say, I'm going to be doing this, and I'm going to be here every week. I'm going to do it for ever, basically. Okay. And so you got to make that type of a commitment that you're going to be there. You're going to host this event no matter what. The other thing that I want to suggest to you is don't go build into another city hoping that other IMAs are going to fill your room for you. Okay. So if you want to be the leader and start a new territory or start a new meeting in, on the other side of the city or in a different town, then you've got to be the one that is filling that room yourself. So you've got to commit to be there. You've got to commit to doing it no matter what. And then you've got to commit to being the one that fills the room. So that means reaching out to warm market. That means, putting out your roadside signs or your flyers or, whatever it is that you're doing. That means, doing your online advertising. I would suggest 7 lead sources minimum. So 7 lead sources minimum to be able to fill that room. Now, one thing that you can do, Jeremy, is you can connect with other leaders that are willing to make that same commitment. And that's one thing that can make it really go well, is if you get multiple leaders that are all willing to do to commit to that one presentation, and they're going to be there and they're going to fill the room. Remember, it's not just about showing up and doing the presentation. Don't expect other IMAs to fill that room for you. But if there is some of you that are going to be leaders and you guys all say, we're going to bring our own events, then you're going to do great. Fritz, let's go find it. I'll show it to you right now. Let's go to YouTube. And then Elevate Renatus. Right here. This is the one. Elevate Renatus. That's 591 subscribers. 592 after you go subscribe. And you can actually see 619 Mastermind Dane Clark. So these get updated. And usually I think somebody comes in and does about a week at a time where they upload these into the channel. All right. I have time for one last question. Anybody have one last question for me? Got 2 minutes, and then I got to jump off and get prepared for the pit team call. My favorite book, that's a big question. It all kind of relates to what I'm dealing with at the time, what I'm wanting to focus on and learn at the time. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to suggest a book that's coming to my mind that I believe there's a lot of people on here that it would benefit. I used to recommend this to every single person that joined my team. And that book is called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. The Slight Edge. And it really talks about the compounding effect of just doing small things every single day. So The Slight, S-L-I-G-H-T, Edge, Jeff Olson. All right, folks, it's an amazing Thursday. Go out and create it. Yep, you got it. Oh, Bill, ask that question next week. I'd love to share with you about starting a new territory that does not have Renatus in it. We'll talk about it next week. Thanks, everybody.